welcome to the Mystic Personas. This is your midweek reading for March the 6th, 2025. Let's find out what the personas have for us for the rest of the week. Thank you for being here. If you haven't watched earlier this week, your Mystic Personas, I would highly recommend you do that right after this so that you can put the two together and have your whole week and notice how many awarenesses come through because of the personas, how on target you are for the things that you're seeking to create, and often how often are we distracting ourselves. All right, here we go. Starting off with the Fantor, the Illusionist, and the Herald. Okay, let's see what we have here. So if we have the Fantor, the Illusionist, and the Herald, just a quick look at, I think we'd all mutually agree, well, the Fantor is really coming out of the gladiator side. This is still coming into getting things done, but now we're doing it instead of just doing things to do them. We're going to put strategy behind it. See, because the Fantor is a master strategist. They're also a strong protector. So ask yourself where some of the things in your world, or maybe they're not being protected enough, and so you're moving into the Fantor to ensure that they are. This could be emotions, this could be ideas, creativity, it could be just self-expressionism, it could be just connecting with any part of your world. The challenge is we've got to embrace trust while we're using on the foresight of the Fantor. See, because the Fantor, being a strategist, can see 2 or 3 moves down the road on what's happening here and starts to adjust just like a great strategist would. And especially coming from the gladiator level, starting to understand that the Fantor is really about making sure that we're staying on target and we're moving forward. But now we're going to do it with real strong intention of why we're doing what we're doing. And that makes it very powerful. Where now as we move to the Illusionist, we start to look at, well, the Illusionist, I think, often is misunderstood. It's one of the most misunderstood personas, and even for and how that persona relates to ourselves, because most people think illusionist means false or trickery, a la let's see what you see in some of the illusionists you've maybe seen on stage or television. That is not really what the illusionist persona is here. You see, the illusionist, while they're a master of perception, not master of deception. It's a master of perception, because everything in reality has some sort of perceptional connotation to it, how you perceive things. And the illusionist can help that part of you put it in a better way, because the illusionist shapes the perspectives and the creativity and the finesse of it so that it moves and it flows. But remember, you've got to balance that perception with authenticity. Don't just come out and give it out as and then it truly becomes what people think the illusionist really is. But the persona of the illusionist is one who understands that you are innovative and you're moving and you're with the strategy of the Fantor, saying, here are the next 3 steps. The illusionist will help create and move your team, your tribe, your family, your idea, your dream, your vision forward with that beautiful perception. And now I think this is fantastic. I mean, this is just, you couldn't have had a better core 3 coming for the back half of this week, especially as we go into now the real solid first week and ending of first week of March. And that is with the Herald, the charismatic connector. So when you look at the Herald, this is the inspiration. This is the diplomat in you. This is the one that inspires from you this meaningful communication, here's the connection. We're going to go do this because here's what we're going to create from not where we are, but where we're going. And here's the strategy by which we're going to do it. And the Herald says all of this, like the trumpet coming before the band. Here's what the band's going to look like. And then the band gives you this beautiful, a presentation of it and the perception based on what the Herald has said, but it was all done with strategy of how we're going to march to the steps, what song we're going to play, how we're going to move our instruments. And this is this whole metaphor for how the last part of the week is going to go. Now, the question really becomes, as we start to look at this, is, okay, where are we not taking a moment to really get clear on our strategy for the next 3 things that we're doing in every aspect, business, life, and our personal, right? And even our spiritual for that matter. And once I understand those, let's say, next 3 steps and all of that, and taking time to really do that with strategy and with thought and with intent, then I can take the perception of, okay, it needs to look this way, it wants to feel this way, because that's how this feels coming off of the core architecture of the Fantor. And now I'm going to wrap it in this, how I want it to feel and look and create as the master orchestrator of the illusionist comes forward, and then this is the message I'm going to say about how it's going to look based on this architecture. You've got these three core going together that's just absolutely fantastic. Now, this is your core. Now we're going to go to the shadow box, as you undoubtedly know by now, and we're going to pull out the shadow cards, and let's find out what is our possibilities as we take these core, and we now know what we're going through for the rest of the week. And let's see what the personas have to say of, hey, here's what the shadows may be. Now remember, shadows have their purpose, but you have to know which shadow we're talking about has purpose. I mean, they all do to a certain degree, obviously, but some of them can obviously distract us, move us away, things not looked at, not dealt with. So, let's be aware. Let's see what it is. All right, here we go. Oh, the Tyrant Regent. Oh, and the Veiler and the Voidcaster. Okay, so right out of the box, we're going to dive right into it. So, okay, we're coming off the Fantor. We've got Master Strategy. We've got Intention. And now the opportunity exists, according to the Mystic Personas, for our reading for March 6th of 2025 is the Tyrant Regent rules through control and fear. And that's avoiding collaboration and maintaining absolute authority. So let's talk about the Fantor. The Fantor coming from Master Strategy, saying this is where we're going to go, this is how we're going to do it, but I'm thinking it, and it's done with the protectionary model. But how often, and we've all done this, right? Let's stop for a moment and acknowledge how many people become overprotective. And that can show up in a Tyrant Regent kind of way. And the emotions that drive it could be things as, someone's jealousy or control, or the absolute need to just make sure that my fears don't come to fruition. So I'm going to, obviously run it from this point of view, which is the Tyrant Regent. Now, on the other side, the Tyrant Regent has, control issues, let's say. So you could see how the Fantor's intention of wanting to protect and make sure everything goes well now turns into the Tyrant Regent as you move into the shadow realm of this. And the potential doesn't mean you're going to go there, but we do want to be aware of it. We want to be aware, are we dropping in? Are we having too much control? Because as now, once we have that, we have the Fantor, we have now the illusion saying, this is how it's going to create. I'm going to orchestrate this beautiful perception. And all of a sudden, then the Veiler starts to show up, because our perception, as you saw, must have authenticity. If not, we move down into the shadow, into the Veiler. This is down into our subconscious now. And this happens almost automatically. This is what makes the personas so powerful for us, is because we're such a fluid creature that we're moved sometimes so fast and sometimes so subtle that we almost miss it, that we're doing it ourselves, and we drop into the subconscious, and now our shadow shows up, and we're into the Veiler coming off of the illusionist, and the Veiler thrives on secrecy and manipulation. Because remember, without authenticity of the illusionist, we're going to start dropping into this, and then we're going to do these intentions so that we maintain control, and we go from let's orchestrate it to this is absolutely how it's going to happen, my way or the highway. And of course, powered by the Tyrant Regent's control, and now expanded because the Veiler is putting out there even more control. Now we've got two control issues. So let's look at throughout the rest of the week, based on what the personas are telling us, where are we, exerting too much control? Where do we believe that we have that much control? And perhaps maybe we can look at and ask ourselves, are we trying to control too much and not bring in all of the other people, and being aware of what our personas are, and then asking, is that affecting our vision? Because now we move over to the Herald. Now remember, the Herald is the one that has taken the Fantor's strategic architecture and doing, and saying, this is what we're going to have to do it. And our illusionist said, this is how we're going to orchestrate it. And this is the perception, the feel, how it's going to look. The Herald's bringing the good news, hence the name, the Herald in and of itself. And the Herald's going to say, this is what it's all about. This is what you're going to experience. And this is how it's going to go. And as the Herald comes along, remember, it has to also balance authenticity. We've got a lot of authenticity going on this week. And, given the times that we're all facing in the world, wouldn't we agree that right now, authenticity might just be something we all could use a little bit more of, self included. So as we look at the Herald, bringing the good news of this master experience that you're seeking to craft for yourself, we drop into the Voidcaster. Now the Voidcaster, they retreat into cold logic. The feel good of the Herald starts moving into the Voidcaster of logic. It is overthinking it. Again, the control theme is continuing here at the shadow realm, coming off of what we're getting from our cores. And we are obsessed in the Voidcaster with theoretical perfection. Now, I know all of us out there in some form, speaking for myself,